Howdy folks, and welcome back to the Wild West channel, where legends rise from the dust of history. Today we're diving deep into the past to meet 20 unforgettable figures of the American frontier. But here's the twist. We're traveling from the shadows into the spotlight, starting with the lesser-known legends and riding all the way to icons that have become household names. Among them, you'll meet the poetic outlaw Blackbart, the fierce Comanche leader Quana Parker, the daring sharpshooter Annie Oakley, and the infamous Billy the Kid. Each story is a window into a wilder time. And here's where you come in. Drop a comment below and let us know who you'd like to see featured in our next video. Is there a lesser-known gunslinger or a hidden hero of the West you think deserves the spotlight? Let us know, partner. So saddle up and see who you recognize and who might just surprise you on this ride through the untamed West. Blackbart Charles E. Bowles, better known as Blackbart, was no ordinary outlaw. He robbed stagecoaches without ever firing a shot and left behind clever poems instead of bullet shells. Wearing a flour sack over his head and dressed in black, this gentleman bandit never harmed his victims, earning a reputation for wit and charm. Bart proved that even outlaws could have a touch of class. His style and civility made him a unique figure amid a sea of violence. Belle Starr, Myra Maybelle Shirley, the Bandit Queen, cut a striking figure with her black velvet outfits and pistols strapped to her waist. Tied to infamous outlaws like Jesse James, she rode outside the norms of her time, crafting a life of rebellion and mystery. Her life was a constant dance between respectability and crime, and though her exact deeds are murky, her name remains firmly embedded in Western folklore. John Wesley Harden. A man as quick with a gun as he was with a temper, Harden claimed to have killed over 20 men. Despite being raised in a religious home, his path veered sharply into violence. Later in life, he became a lawyer, defending himself in court, a deadly intellect with a dangerous streak. Stories of him killing over snoring or out of insult highlight the volatile nature of the frontier world. The Sundance Kid Harry Alonzo Longabaugh gained fame alongside Butch Cassidy in the Wild Bunch gang. Known for his calm under pressure and steady hand with a gun, he fled to South America in search of freedom. His fate remains unknown, and his story, unfinished, continues to spark imaginations. The image of Sundance lives on in dime novels, films, and countless retellings. Quana Parker. The last great chief of the Comanche, Quana Parker, was the son of a Comanche war chief and a white captive, Cynthia Ann Parker. A fierce warrior turned skilled diplomat, he led his people through the difficult transition to reservation life. His legacy is one of strength, adaptation, and cultural resilience. More than just a warrior, Quana became a symbol of survival. Kit Carson Christopher. Kit Carson was a frontiersman whose real-life adventures read like an epic. Starting as a fur trapper, he became a scout and guide for legendary Western expeditions. Carson's skills helped map the rugged terrain of the West, and his reputation grew as both a trailblazer and soldier. However, his legacy is complicated. He also led campaigns that displaced native tribes, leaving a trail of both admiration and sorrow. Carson embodied the daring spirit and the difficult contradictions of westward expansion. Masterson Bartholomew. Masterson didn't just wear a gun, he wore many hats. From buffalo hunter to sheriff to New York sports writer, his life was a bridge between the lawless frontier and the emerging modern world. As a friend to Wyatt Herp, Bat stood in the middle of many legendary shootouts, but it was his wit and intellect that kept him relevant long after the smoke cleared. A man of charm and cleverness, Masterson showed that in the West, brains often worked better than bullets. Chief Joseph Hinma Tu Yalat Kekt, better known as Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce, was a man of dignity and sorrow. He led his people on a 1,400-mile retreat in an attempt to escape forced relocation. Though ultimately captured, his surrender speech, "I will fight no more forever," remains one of the most powerful declarations of peace and exhaustion in American history. Chief Joseph's compassion and leadership made him a symbol of honor and resistance. Pat Garrett. Pat Garrett stepped into legend as the man who took down Billy the Kid. A former cowboy turned lawman, Garrett's reputation remains torn between justice and betrayal. His account of the Kid's killing stirred debate for generations. Was he a noble sheriff, or did he exploit the legend for fame? Either way, Garrett's actions helped solidify one of the West's most enduring rivalries. Geronimo, born Goyawe, meaning the one who yawns, Geronimo became the fiercest face of Apache resistance. A tactical genius and spiritual leader, he led daring escapes and held off US and Mexican forces for decades. Though eventually captured, Geronimo remained defiant, becoming a symbol of resilience. His later life as a celebrity and performer underscored the strange transformation from feared warrior to living legend. Calamity Jane Martha. Jane Canary, better known as Calamity Jane, was a tough-as-nails woman who blazed her own trail. She served as a scout, cared for the sick, and spun tall tales that captivated audiences. Jane's unpolished honesty and rough-edged charisma made her a staple of Western lore. Her loyalty to Wild Bill Hickok and defiance of traditional femininity made her a true original on the frontier. Buffalo Bill Cody. William Frederick Cody wasn't just a showman, he was the show. As Buffalo Bill, he created a traveling spectacle that brought the Wild West to the world. Combining drama, horsemanship, and sharpshooting, his Wild West show featured real-life figures and mythic retellings. A scout, a buffalo hunter, and a businessman, Cody helped cement the cowboy as an international symbol of rugged freedom. Sitting Bull Tatanka Iotake, or Sitting Bull, was more than a warrior. He was a vision-guided leader of the Lakota. So, best known for uniting tribes at the Battle of the Little Bighorn, where Custer met his end, Sitting Bull resisted the erosion of his people's land and way of life. Later in life, he toured with Buffalo Bill's show, blending the historical with the theatrical. Through it all, Sitting Bull remained a steadfast symbol of indigenous pride. Annie Oakley. Phoebe Ann Mosey, better known as Annie Oakley, rose from poverty to become one of the world's most celebrated sharpshooters. With unmatched precision and grace, she shattered targets and stereotypes on stages across the globe. A star of Buffalo Bill's show, Oakley proved that skill had no gender. She also used her fame to advocate for women's rights and gun education, becoming a role model far ahead of her time. Butch Cassidy. Robert Leroy Parker, who went by Butch Cassidy, led the notorious Wild Bunch on a spree of robberies that captured headlines and imaginations. Charismatic and clever, Cassidy often used charm over gunfire, earning a reputation as a gentleman bandit. His final days in South America, shrouded in mystery, left the world wondering, did he die in a shootout or escape to start anew? Doc Holliday, John Henry Holliday, was a Southern gentleman turned deadly gunslinger. Trained as a dentist, he became a gambler and drinker, haunted by tuberculosis and a fatalistic view of life. As Wyatt Herp's closest ally, Holliday played a crucial role in the OK Corral shootout. His quick wit and quicker draw made him both feared and admired, a man who stared down death every day and never blinked. Wild Bill Hickok, James Butler. Hickok lived fast, shot straight, and died with a poker hand in his grip. As a Union spy, lawman and showman, he cut a striking figure with long hair, fancy dress, and deadly aim. Hickok's calm under fire and sharp senses earned him fame, but it was his dramatic death, holding the infamous dead man's hand, that sealed his place in Western myth. Than Jesse James, a former Confederate guerrilla turned outlaw. Jesse James led one of the most infamous gangs in the West. His bank and train robberies made him a folk hero to some and a villain to others. James was a master of image and manipulation, keeping the public intrigued. His assassination by a member of his own gang shocked the nation and immortalized him as a tragic anti-hero. Tucked. Billy the Kid. Henry McCarty, alias William H. Bonney, better known as Billy the Kid, was a boy with a gun and a legend in the making. He reportedly killed 21 men by the time he turned 21. Known for his youthful face and lightning-fast draw, Billy danced along the edge of myth and mayhem. His short life and dramatic death at the hands of Pat Garrett remain one of the West's most enduring tales historianed. Wyatt Herp. And finally, Wyatt Herp, marshal, gambler, and the towering figure of frontier law. Best remembered for the gunfight at the OK Corral, Herp walked the line between justice and personal vendetta. His life took him from Dodge City to Tombstone and into the heart of American legend. Calm under fire and relentless in pursuit, Wyatt Herp came to define what it meant to be a lawman in a lawless land.